Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Bhavit Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Guru Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapiyat Sarvam Trailogyam Sacharacharam Tadpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Krishna Gurudeva. Lord Krishna, did he have a tragic life or did he have a joyous life? From the time that Lord Krishna wanted to take avatar, already there was an assassination plot ready for him. His 6 brothers has already been killed by Kamsa, his uncle. His mother and father have already been imprisoned on strict surveillance. His 7th brother was transported by his Yogamaya, Bhagavan's Yogamaya, to Mother Rohini in Gokul. And full security alert was there that as soon as the 8th child, which was Bhagavan Krishna, was to be born, immediately the guards will alert Uncle Kamsa, who will come and destroy that child. Knowing this, King Vasudeva, Lord Krishna's father, was instructed by the Lord to take him to Gokul. Again a tragedy that a newborn child should be with his own mother. But Bhagavan gets separated from his father and mother, and King Vasudeva takes Bhagavan Krishna out of the prison. Born in prison, old Bhagavan is now taken out of prison. In that cold and shivering temperatures, as the rains was pouring, and a newborn child getting wet, what pneumonia, what cold it will catch. And as Vasudeva carries that Krishna on the basket on his head, as they kept walking, and the rains was pouring, a snake comes to shelter the baby. Now if you imagine a snake sitting on the top of you, and you're a little tiny baby. And then Vasudeva takes that Krishna to the Yamuna. He has to cross the Yamuna river. And as he starts to cross the Yamuna river, and because of the rains, the Yamuna river is rising and rising. And Vasudeva keeps walking because he has been instructed that he has to take Krishna to Gokul. And as the water is rising, and the water is getting up to the nose of Vasudeva, now Where's the baby? On the head. Baby could be drowned. And then that baby was taken to Gokul. And baby doesn't know anybody there. It is left there with Yashoda Maya. And Vasudeva returns with Yashoda Maya's baby. And the moment Kamsa knew that the baby was born and that it wasn't this baby girl that is there with Devaki and Vasudeva, he immediately sends all his assassins, all the Asuras and Asuris, starting with Purtana, to find that child and destroy that child. And after that, Bakasura, Agasura, Trinavata, Dhenukasura, all the different Asuras came to kill him. And as he grew up, Kamsa could not do anything. So Kamsa invites these young teenage boys, Krishna and Balaram, to come to Mathura. And when they come to Mathura, in the pretext of Mathura games. But was it the games there for the game's sake, or was it there to kill Krishna? And as soon as Krishna comes, so many different obstacles were there to kill Krishna only. And finally, having killed Kamsa, Krishna went to spend time with his biological mother. But already so many years has passed. Krishna has not gone to school. So immediately they send him to school. Now, which child wants to go to school when it has not spent any time with its own mother and father? And that Krishna was sent to school. And then, having finished school, Krishna comes back. And as they started growing up, he came to hear that his cousins, the Pandavas, were being persecuted by Duryodhana and his party. And on the other side, continuous rivals were there to try and destroy Krishna. Because whoever wanted help, they would ask Krishna for help. And so those people who wanted to do wrong could not do. So they also had assassination plots against Krishna to kill him. And you will also find that Krishna has been called many, many different names by those who did not like him. At one instance, Krishna had no choice but to, as strategy, run away from the battlefield to try to win the war, that fight that he was having with the demon. But it was felt that Krishna ran away from the battlefield. And look at what the bad publicity Krishna got. Trying to save the people, he got bad publicity. And was called Ranachor. He ran away from the battlefield. And then he goes to help his cousins. The Pandavas help them. On this side, he had another cousin called Shishupala, who from childhood onwards has taken revenge, wanted to kill Krishna, to insult Krishna. And wherever he got the opportunity, he would insult Krishna, whether in public, in huge forums, or in casual forums. Whenever he got a chance, he would insult Krishna. And that Krishna then goes to Hastinapur to help his cousins, Pandavas. There also, how many times Krishna got insulted? And even got to the point that on the last diplomatic means that Krishna goes to ask the Kauravas, Duryodhana, etc., for a means of compromise. Let us settle this without going to war. And there that Duryodhana tries to imprison Krishna. And then the war was inevitable. And there also you will find that Krishna was in the firing line. He was the charioteer of Arjuna. And do you think that when the fight is going on, that they will only shoot at the warrior who is fighting? They will also shoot at the charioteer. So Krishna was on the firing line. And finally, after the war had finished, Krishna thought that at least now I can be peaceful. My children have all grown up. They all can look after the kingdom, etc. But as the war finished and the Pandavas won, Gandhari curses Krishna that you could have stopped the war, but you did not. And I curse you that you shall also suffer the loss of your children like I have. And after the war had finished and Krishna returns to Dwaraka, he finds that there was infighting within all his children. And one day they all fought with each other and killed each other. So right in front of Krishna's face, all his children died. And Krishna, thinking that now everything is finished, let me take a break. And he sat under this tree, taking some rest, thinking that life will be peaceful. And at that time, a hunter comes along and shoots an arrow at thinking that it's a rabbit. He shoots that arrow and it pokes Krishna on the toe. And Krishna leaves this embodiment. Now, from the time that he was expected to take birth, during his birth, from his move to Gokul, in Gokul with all asuras, and then moving to Vrindavan, then going to Mathura, then going to Gurukul, then going to Dwaraka, then going to Hastinapur, all the way till he left this world. Tragedy after tragedy. This is what we see if we look at Krishna's life as it is chronologically given to us. But have you ever seen a photo of Krishna with a frown? Or have you seen a Krishna with a smile? We find that we always see Krishna with a smile. Why? Because Krishna never allowed himself to lose that smile. You may ask, what is a smile? Smile is a positive outlook on situations. And this is what Krishna always had. Krishna always looked at the situation for its positive nature. He never allowed his mind to drop into the lower nature. Always looked for the positive. Why positive he looked for? Whenever your mind is positive, your mind is in the present moment. When your mind is agitated and sorrowful, it is either, as Gurudev says, leaking out into the regrets of the past or being anxious of the future or excitement in the present. So therefore, when there is leakages, we have agitation and sorrow. But when the mind is positive, our mind is in the present moment. And in the present moment, you can see opportunities in front of you. But if your mind is agitated, you can't see it. So Lord Krishna always kept his mind positive, that he is able to live in the present, and in that present he can see what is the opportunity available to make things better. And he never allowed his mind to drop. But how do I get this mind to be positive? Lord Krishna, what is his secret? How to keep this mind positive? We find that Bujja Gurudev, in his self-unfoldment, all youngsters must read this book, where Gurudev says how a smile can change the whole dynamics of our mind. So he says, a simple practice. Whenever you feel sad, go in front of a mirror and smile for 2 minutes. Just smile. And you will see how your mind after that 2 minutes will become positive. And he also says, if you want to feel sad, all you need to do is to go and stand in front of the mirror and frown for 1 minute, and you will see your mind dropping. But obviously we all don't want to have a sad mind. So therefore let us practice this. Put it into practice and see whether Gurudev is telling us the right thing. So therefore when one has a positive mind, one can see the opportunities. We also see a beautiful story that we tell all our Balvyar children from the Puranas, which is very applicable to all of us, is of the story of Dhruva. This little 5-year-old child wanted to sit on his father's lap. But his stepmother pulls him down and says to that 5-year-old, if you want to be able to sit on your father's lap, you go pray to the Lord and be born to me, and then you will have the opportunity to sit on your father's lap. So this Dhruva, very upset, goes to his own mother. And look at the wise mother. The wise mother says to Dhruva, oh Dhruva, in life, there are many situations and many things people will say. But in everything, look for something positive. And what was it that was positive in that statement that the stepmother said? The positive thing was that go pray to the Lord. And you find that Dhruva, taking that positive statement from the stepmother, he goes looking for the Lord. So therefore, in life, Gurudev says, whatever that comes to you is your prarabdha, your destiny. But what you do with it is your self-effort. So therefore, look for something positive in that situation, in that statement that somebody has made, and use that to progress. So therefore, one must learn to look for the positivity, to be positive. And it all starts with a smile. But now that my mind has become positive, what do I do? Therefore, Bhagavan says, Karmanyevadhikaraste ma paleshu kadachana. Bhagavan says this in the Bhagavad Gita. Your right is to act, not to the having anxiety and attachment to the results of the future. Because the future is not in your hands. The future is determined by the actions you do. Plus there are other factors that play for the result to come. So you only have control over the action right now. So having brought the mind to a positive, peaceful state, being in that present moment, do your dharma, do your duty, and do it fearlessly. So then the question is asked, how and what is it that I must do? How do I know what to do? Another interesting point that comes from the Lord Krishna's life is that when Lord Krishna was being taken by his father Vasudeva in that basket across the Yamuna, Vasudeva had Krishna on his head. And he kept remembering what the words of the Lord was. And what was the words of the Lord? Take me to Gokul and bring that child which is born from Yashoda Maya back to the prison. So therefore Vasudeva ji, keeping Bhagwan on his head, kept crossing the river. Now when one keeps holding on to what the Lord has said, what is the Lord's wish, what is good for the totality, in line with that dharma of totality, if one can keep that in their head and cross the ocean of samsara or cross the situations that come in their life. As Vasudeva crossed, the water started rising. It's as though it was going to kill him. And the water rose all the way up to his nose. And you find that Vasudeva does not waver. He continues. And seeing this, Lord Krishna takes his little toe out and touches the water. And the water resides. So therefore, what does Bhagavan say in the Gita? Is that one who keeps the dharma, keeps the well-being of everybody. And who is this everybody? Who is this entire creation? Is nothing but Bhagavan, the Lord in different forms. When you keep that Lord in your head, keep that well-being of everybody and the whole world in your mind as you do your work, this becomes an offering to the universe, to that Lord. And what does Krishna say in the Gita? When you nourish the devas will come to bless you. So therefore, when we work for the universe, when we serve for the universe, when we live in all our actions for the well-being of everybody, then the universe comes to bless us. But how do I know what is it that I must hold on to? So therefore, in Bhikshu Gita, Bhagavan gives to Uddhava 5 duties that we must do. And these 5 duties, Bhagavan Krishna calls it as debts. 5 things that we are indebted to. And if we can pay these debts off, or at least attempt to pay these debts off, it becomes our dharma. So what are these 5 things? Not in any particular order. Pitrurin, that we have a duty to our parents and our ancestors. So the question is, why I have to look after, why do I have a debt to my parents and my ancestors? Without my parents giving me this body, if my parents did not nourish me and look after me and help me to get my education, etc., where will I be? So therefore, when my parents looked after me when I could not, do I not have a responsibility to look after them when they get older? And if they did not give us what we have, what can we say is ours? How would we have ever got it? So therefore, we have a debt. And it's not a debt. It should be a gratitude that I owe this to my parents. They have given me so much and I can never prepay them back. But at least I should be able to look after them. And many a times I am asked the question that once I am married, Do I have a responsibility for my parents? Please understand that we have a responsibility. The boy has a responsibility for his parents and her parents. And she has a responsibility for her parents and his parents. When one gets married, one marries two families, not just two individuals. So therefore, when one starts to live in the spirit of giving, in the spirit of gratitude, in the spirit of doing their duty, looking after their parents and looking after their ancestors, the traditions, the good values and traditions that the ancestors have given, when one can live in gratitude and serve in this manner, live in this manner, we slowly start paying off our debt. We do our duty. So keeping this in our mind. So Pitru Rin. Then Rishi Rin. That the masters of the past, the Guru Parampara, from the Rishis of time immemorial to our own Guru Parampara, Bujju Gurudev, and the Parampara, we have a duty to serve them, to feel gratitude, to live the knowledge that they have given us. And that is the greatest giving, is when we can live the knowledge that they have given us. And to serve them whenever possible. And actually we should be serving them all the time through all our thought, word and actions, and make them feel proud of us. So therefore, Rishirin. And Nririn, we have a responsibility for the society. Has not fellow human beings made many things possible for us? The mere food that we eat, how many people it has changed hands to get the food for us to put it into our own mouth. So therefore, we have a great gratitude we should be giving and serving the society of fellow human beings. Then how about the other living entities? The Bhutarin, all the other living entities, how they have helped also. A simple example is that worm that sits on the ground, underneath the ground, it breaks down the soil so that we can grow our food, our plants. So therefore, we have a responsibility for all living creatures. And then Devarin. Do we not have a responsibility for this entire nature? Nature has given us so much: clean water, clean air, clean environment to live in. But we as human beings, out of our ungratefulness, we are destroying it. We talk about global warming. We talk about going to other planets looking for place to live, because we've already decided that we've destroyed the world. As Bujju Gurudev says, you stop polluting Ganga, Ganga will clean herself out. You don't need to go and clean Ganga up. You stop polluting it. The whole environment will get cleaned up if we stop doing the wrong thing and we are grateful for what we have. Then for millions and millions more years, this earth will continue to serve us. So therefore, these 5 duties, if I live, my parents and my ancestors, my guru and the Rishi Parampara, serve the society and fellow beings, look after the other living creatures, and look after nature. Isn't this the entire creation that God has created, and which is God in different forms? So when I serve these 5 and I pay my duty, I do my duty to these 5, will I not get the blessings of the Lord, of the Devas? And what is that greatest blessing? When I live a life of righteousness, when I live a life of duty, it will exhaust and purify my mind. It will exhaust my vasanas. It will reduce my ego. Because at this moment, my ego is such that it thinks that it has achieved everything without the help of anybody. Nobody is an individual. We are all in it together. And the whole universe supports me, and I support the universe even in my little bit. We work together. And this is what Bhujya Gurudev calls in Gita as the Yagna spirit. When we work together for the well-being of all, everybody prospers, I prosper. And what is that real prosperity? Is the peace of mind. And when our mind is peaceful, we have a happy individual, we have a happy world. That happiness from within shines forth. Lord Krishna always kept in his mind what was his purpose in life. He did not get disturbed by what other people had to say. He would listen, no doubt, but he always kept his goal in his mind. And what was his goal? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuktanam dharmasya tadatmanam shrujamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam dharma samstapanataya sambhavami yuge yuge. To protect the good, to uplift those who are falling, to uplift them. Even he went to the extent of even the asuras who have fallen, he tried to encourage them to rise. Whatever Bhagavan did was to uplift dharma. So you and I, if we can keep the Lord's teachings, the 5 duties that we have in our head, just like King Vasudeva kept Krishna in his basket, we in the basket of our mind keep these 5 duties in ourselves and keep living up to it out of our gratitude. We will find that we will have no fear, but we will only have cheer. And so Bhagavan says, what you meet in life, Gurudev says, what you meet in life is your destiny, but what you do with it is your self-effort. And in your self-effort, you can either cheerfully look at it or you can look at it miserably. You can cheerfully accept it, and in that cheerful acceptance, you can see what is the thing you need to do to progress. But if you uncheerfully accept it, your mind will be sorrowful. It'll get distracted in the past, present, and future agitations, and you will never be able to progress. So therefore, swipe what? Make a change in the right direction. Swipe right. What is the right thing to do? Do your duty. So swipe right for a smile. So whenever you do the right thing, you will never have fear, you will never have sorrow, you will only smile. Only happiness comes to one who does their dharma in the long run. So therefore, swipe right for a smile. And we already saw that to smile, by smiling, you get a peaceful mind, you have a positive mind, and hence you can do your duty. So therefore, you can swipe right for a smile, or you can smile to do the right thing. Be Krishna and ever smile at everything that comes. And when you smile, there is no tragedy. There is only opportunities to progress. Hari Om. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Hari Om.
into clouds laden with eternal wisdom, riding winds adrift with profound spiritual literature, nestled upon the wings of soulfully expounded sacred texts. Start your inward flight of magical discoveries with Chinmaya ebooks. Let the quest in you linger.